Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Dug ourselves in a deep hole in the first part of the Pittsburgh game. Very disappointing. We did the same thing offensively at Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh. So offensively, we put ourselves in trouble in 3 of those 5 losses. I thought the defense played poorly against Florida State, and then we played a pretty good game against Notre Dame. They just had a better team. So you can't start a game when you have 4 sacks the first 4 series, and then you have 2 short punts and they get good returns, and you're down 17-0 before the game even gets started by the end of the first quarter. But then very, very proud of our team that coaches made some adjustments, which Jay and Phil will talk to you about here in a few minutes. And our guys came back and fought. A lot of teams would have quit. And very, very proud of their effort the last 3 quarters, and especially the second half. The second half, we outscored Pitt 16-0. In the fourth quarter, which we've always put so much emphasis on, we had the ball 11 minutes and 31 seconds compared to 3 minutes and 29 seconds. And we just have to find a way to win. We're minute 16 seconds left. We're on the 1-yard line, ready to score and win the game. There's 5 guys on the Pittsburgh defense that clap, and we have an errant snap. It's disappointing that was missed. And then we got to handle the adversity better because we lost a down that was unfair. Then we come back and have a motion penalty that puts us in bad shape. And then obviously we have a 3rd down pass that goes down to the 3. I'm never very good after games. When I talk to you all, I try, but I was so disappointed for the kids and the fans that we had a chance to beat a great Pitt team, and we had an opportunity and we didn't take advantage of it. But really and truly what the decision came down to from me is we were 1 of 3 on 4th downs. And if we had been 2 of 4 or 3 of 4, 3 of 3, then we go for the 4th down there. But I didn't have confidence that we had missed a 2-point play earlier where we had no chance, and we had missed we had only made 1 of 3 4th downs. So that's why we went into overtime, and then we didn't play well in the overtime, which was disappointing. But proud that the coaches got the guys to play hard the whole game. Proud that the guys fought hard the whole game. And, you know, we beat Wake Forest, who's leading the Atlantic, and we had a great chance to beat a really good Pitt team on the road that's leading the Coastal. So that's how close we are. I've never been more excited about the future. We got things we got to fix that we haven't. I'm disappointed we haven't. We should have. That's on us as coaches, but the players continue to play, and we'll continue to get better. We're not forcing enough turnovers on defense. We even dropped a pass at the end of the game that would have won again. So we just kept having opportunities that we didn't do it. We are getting more pressure on quarterbacks the last 2 weeks, and that's something we've worked on. Des Evans has come in and putting some good pressure on quarterbacks the last couple of weeks, and we held them to 95 yards rushing, so we're doing a much better job against the run. So defensively, I thought it was our best game, and they held us in the game, and they gave us a chance to win. On special teams, the special teams were all good except for the punts. We've had some poor punts that were short, and they were low and very easy to return. And then we had a couple of penalties on the other side of the kicking game, but must clean those up. Offensively, I looked at the national stats for 3 years with us on both sides of the ball with red zone, 3rd down and 4th down, and 2-point plays, and we're right in the middle. So we're average, and that's why we're sitting here 5-5. You got to get better in those areas. So this spring, one thing we're going to do is we're going to start scrimmaging more in situations. We're going to line up and just put the ball down at the 18 or the 20, and because we've got to get better in those areas. We've got to score more touchdowns, and we've got to stop people. So those are things that we've got to pick it up. The other thing that just is driving me nuts, and I don't know why we continue to have too many penalties. And we've got officials at practice. We don't have many in practice, and we have entirely too many in games. So I've got to keep working on that to try to get that stopped. And when I talk about the clapping on the goal line, that's not fair to our kids. That's not whining. The game's fast. It's harder for officials to call than ever before, but I still say that something like that should be taken upstairs. That should be reviewable, because that is a critical point in that ball game, and nobody wanted to miss that. But if you got 5 guys clapping and you have a bad snap, and Sam did an amazing job of taking that ball and throwing it out of bounds to keep the ball, but we lose a snap and we're rattled, and that just that should not happen. Ty Chandler is 74 yards away from reaching 1,000 this season. So Ty's been a great signee for us, and he's done the things that we needed to do. He needs 28 yards to reach 3,000 for his career. So Ty Chandler has had a great college career at both his programs. Josh Downs needs 113 yards to match Hakeem Nicks's single season receiving record for yards for his 1,222 yards. He needs 14 receptions to match UNC's single season record of 96 catches by Ryan Switzer. So he's in a great position for this weekend. And Sam Howell needs 69 yards to reach 10,000 career passing yards. And he would be the 8th ACC quarterback to pass for more than 10,000 yards. Jeremy will email you the list of seniors who are going to senior day. I will call them out for you here. Grayson Atkins, British Brooks, Adam Buck, Carson Burgess, Ty Chandler, Tamon Fox, who actually came out there for senior day last year and decided to stay when they gave him a year back. So this is his second senior day. Jeremiah Gimmel, Gray Goodwin, Tyrone Hopper, Sam Howell. This will be his last game at Kenan Stadium. Curion Johnson is looking at the possibilities of coming back. He's looking at some academic things. Nick Makovic, Marcus McKeithen, and both Josh Azudu are going to go through senior day, but they're also getting Coach Moody to look at the evaluations for them with the NFL. If they're drafted high enough, they would like to leave. If not, they'd like to stay. So that's just a decision they'll make. Trey Morrison and Kyler McMichael are best friends, and they want to both look at their NFL status, but they will leave. Alex Nobles, Hunter Shope, Jordan Tucker, Ray Vahasek, and Garrett Walston. And you think about these guys, they've meant so much to our program, and they've been so good to us. Some guys left, some stayed. It's very tough when you lose your coach and all the assistant coaches, and you have different guys talking to you about a different offense and a different defense and who recruited you and what you meant to them. These guys have stayed, and they fought. And I see Garrett Walston and Tamon Fox and even Jordan Tucker, who didn't start the game like he wanted to. They're on the sideline Saturday night fighting to try to win the game. And I appreciate that so much. So they go from 3 wins and 2 wins to 2 bowl games and a chance Saturday to put themselves in a 3rd bowl game. So the transition's been hard, especially with the transfer portal. But I really, really appreciate that these guys are going to leave the program much better than they found it, and I appreciate them. So that's 21 guys. Jeremy should be emailing you those names as we speak. If you have any questions about that, we will. Sam will be with the doctors this week and see if he can practice. He wants to play Saturday. If he can, he will. He feels like he'll be 100% for next week, but he and the doctors will make the decision day to day and a game day decision on whether he'll play this weekend or not. Obviously, that puts into question your young backup quarterbacks. So you have to get them ready to play. They'll get the heavy load of practice this week, and we'll just have to decide during the week how we play them, because the most important thing is to win the game. We're playing Wofford. You start looking at things that need to happen. We've had 4 really tough emotional games with Miami, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, and Pitt. We had 3 ranked teams in 13 days. So the guys are spent and they're tired. So this will be a very, very important week for us to make sure that we can get ready to play, because we're improving. We're a much better team today than we were against Virginia Tech, but we need to keep improving things, and there's so many things I just listed that we've got to get better at, that this is really important for us to have a great week's practice and be ready to play. So for the weekend, you want your seniors to go out right. You always do. Secondly, you can be eligible for a bowl game. That's really, really important to us, as young as we are, that we get the 13 extra practices, and it prepares you better for next week. I will tell the players tomorrow that Samford scored 52 points on Florida, and Samford beat Wofford 27-24. So don't stand around, and this shouldn't be about the other team ever. Obviously, rival games, it gets to be more about that. But you got to play to a standard, and you are how you play. And we're getting better, and we're getting closer. But we've got to take a next step here at the end of this year to give us a lot more momentum going into spring. Questions?
Okay, let's begin with Aaron Beard. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, Mack, obviously with Sam's situation, you just touched on that a little bit, but this would have been a game you probably would have wanted to get the young guy, quarterbacks in particular, some work if everything went to plan. Is this going to make that part, how much do you think that will change what you would have already done anyway in this kind of game where you're trying to give them reps?
Aaron, we've been so inconsistent. You never know who's going to show up for us, and that's the scary part. We very seldom have we had a full team show up. We've been great on offense and bad on defense. We've been just the opposite. So the most important thing is to win the game. We've got to win 6 games on Saturday, and we got to be bowl eligible. And you need to jump out against teams like this and not let them get excited. Obviously, the Samford, Florida thing scares every coach in the country. You say it can't happen until you watch it. So we would have done what we've done against Mercer and Western Carolina, try to put ourselves in a position to be ahead and then play the younger guys. Now, just dependent on how Sam does this week, we have to prepare to start the other guys and play them and win the game, and they've never started a game before. So that'll be very, very, very interesting for us.
Thanks, Mack.
Thank you.
Luciano, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
In 4 out of your last 5 games, you have had over 100 yards taken from you because of penalties. You haven't gone over 69 in any of your first 5 games. What has changed since then, and how are you planning on solving this issue?
Yeah, I have to be careful when I talk about officiating. Number one, the last 4 teams have been really good teams. And normally the better athletes you play against, the more likely you are to have some penalties because they're really, really good. Coach Bowden always told me the team with the most penalties is usually the team that wins. And I laughed and said, why? And he said, because most penalties are on offense. And if your offense is moving the ball and scoring a lot of points, then you're going to have more penalties. What we've got to do, we're going to have some penalties. Everybody is. But what we've got to do is we've got to get rid of the stupid penalties, the things that just are lack of discipline. You're going to have some. You're going to have a holding call every now and then, and you may have a pass interference because those are judgment calls. And the other thing that we continue to do, I feel like officiating is harder than ever before because we see more of it, because we've got TV and replays on every call. But I said it once before, I wish you all could see what should have been called and what was called after we get our reports back from the ACC office every Tuesday. I think that'd be more fair to our team and our coaches, but that's not going to happen. So we just got to continue to do the best we can to have fewer penalties. And the other, I'm sorry, Mark, the other thing is, Luciano, is we're an average team, and average teams are affected more by penalties. You got to be good enough that the penalties don't matter. And right now they're killers. The face mask on 4th and 3 at Notre Dame, the lack of holding call on the 91-yard run at Notre Dame, Saturday's ball on the 1. I mean, those things kill us now because we have to do everything right to win games. And if you're good enough, it doesn't matter. It sounds like whining. Well, we got to get better. So a bad call doesn't keep you from winning the game.
Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned, even going back to August, how you need to find ways to get Jacoby and Drake on the field because you had to prepare them for next year. And some of those opportunities that maybe you thought you would have had, you haven't had. So how important is it moving ahead this weekend just to get those guys out there and let them go? Because Drake hasn't thrown a pass in a game in 2 years. Jacoby's thrown 6 in 3 years. So how important is it just to get them out there and just let them go?
Yeah, if Sam doesn't play this weekend, this will be the first time that both of them will get to run our offense. And we'll get to see a lot about our future. And Jacoby's been here in January. He will have been here 2 years. And he got a year back from the COVID super senior stuff. Obviously, Drake's just a freshman. And I think Jacoby's played in 3 games, so this would be his 4th, and Drake's played in 2 games. So you've got to look at winning the game. You've got to look at, would one of them need to play in the next 2 games after this if you get to a bowl game, and then how important is redshirting. So a lot of decision making is going to go into this week and the next couple of weeks about the 2 quarterbacks because we think they're both really good. They're both very talented. And as you said, Andrew, they need work. And they need work, and you put them in. You put them in to be in a game. You put them in to take a snap and run a little bit or throw a short pass. But neither one of them have been in competitive situations where they had to win a game. And if Sam doesn't play this weekend, they've got to be in there to win the game.
As far as Sam goes, with him walking Saturday, is this a recent decision, maybe discussion you had with him yesterday, or is this something that you've kind of known for a while for sure? Because you've hinted at it that he probably wouldn't be back, but is this something that was finalized here in the last couple of days?
Yes. We ask all of our players really on open date, on bye week, and then we asked again last week. I told the guys, I don't want to tell you all something today, and then they come in Wednesday and tell me, well, I've decided to leave. Or I don't want to tell you that they're leaving, and then they say, Coach, I've been thinking about it, I'm not going to. And that could happen. But we tried to make sure that they were 100% on these decisions before I gave it to you in the public. I haven't thought Sam was coming back since last year. I have never had one thought about him coming back, and he's going to be a first-round draft choice. So I think he should leave. And again, our job is to do what's best for these young people. And if he is ready to leave and he's ready to make a bunch of money, then we think he should leave. We'd love to have him come back for another year. That'd be great, but we had the same thing with Vince Young. Vince Young walked in and said, Coach, they've told me I'm going to make a minimum $20 million. What do you think? If I was your son, what would you do? And I said, my son's short and small and slow, so it'll never come to that decision. But if you can get $20 million, go, man. Leave. And we would have won another national championship if Vince had come back. So you can't say you're in the best interest of the players and then not be when it comes down to what's best for them. Our program will be fine. These young quarterbacks are talented. They've got to step up. Sam started as a true freshman. So that's what we'll tell these this weekend. Now, what I've got to decide this weekend is how do we play them? If Sam doesn't play, who goes in first? How long do they stay? Do you leave one? Do you have the other? Because you want both of them to have a chance to show what they can do, but you still need to win the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
T.L. Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Mack, you've kind of alluded to it. I have another Jacoby Drake kind of question. So is it pretty much still competition with those 2 guys? I mean, I know they would be limited with the snaps that they get in practice before Sam got injured. But I was just curious, has there been no separation between the two to where, there's not a definitive, okay, Sam can't go, so he's going in?
Yeah. CL, these two have taken the exact same number of snaps every practice for a year. Sam gets all the ones and they split the twos. And that's been every day at practice. And there is really not separation right now. And when we've put somebody in before, we've put Jacoby in first. He's been around longer, he's older. But we'll have to make the decision, how do you win the game on Saturday? And how do you get these quarterbacks the best work? Because they could have to play at any time. So as Aaron said, that this is, in a weird way, we're forced to play them. So you'll get less sleep this week and be excited to watch them play. And that's another reason the fans need to come out and say thank you to these seniors. They need to say thank you to Sam. We will not know whether he's going to play till the end of the week or not. That'll be his decision. I told him that yesterday. I said I'd love for him to play some if he can, but obviously if he and the doctors decide that he needs some more rest, then he wouldn't play. But if not, fans need to come out and see the future at quarterback, because that's what they're going to have on Saturday at noon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jasmine Baker, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You spoke about the comebacks, and not only this season and forcing Pitt to overtime, but also last week. What are you saying to your guys at halftime that we're seeing such a transformation become such a dominant second half? What kind of adjustments are you personally telling the guys to make?
Jasmine, we had a situation at Texas where we were down 35-14 at home to Oklahoma State. And we scored with 4 seconds left in the half to get to 14. And we were getting booed, and everybody thought we were fired. And I'd had a situation come up when I was at Oklahoma that we got down to Kansas, and I yelled at the players, and I told them how bad they were, and I told them they could get beat, and I told them they could get beat, and I told them they could get beat. Well, we were number 1 or 2 in the country, and Kansas was awful, and we got beat. And we got beat like 33-14 or something. It was awful. And we're on the plane going home, and Coach Switzer sat next to me, and I said, Coach, I'm sorry, we absolutely blew the game, and offensively we were awful. And he said, you know what? You lost your first quarterback, you lost your second quarterback, so it's hard to win when you're playing your third quarterback on the road. But he said, let me tell you something, these players respect you a lot, and they're going to listen to you. And at halftime, you convinced them they could lose. Because you told them 3 times, you can lose, you can lose, you can lose, and that's all they heard. And they did what you told them to do. So he said, when they're down, you need to pick them up. And when they're up, you can get all over them. So I'm walking off the field at Texas in 04, and we're down 35-14, and I felt Coach Switzer on my shoulder saying, man, it's been an awful first half. Pick them up. Pick them up. So I walk into the coaches at halftime and said, hey, Oklahoma State's done everything right. Ball bounced off our helmet. They caught it and run in for a touchdown. We're playing hard. We're not playing very good. So we're going to win the game, but you go in there and pick these guys up and tell them how we're going to win the game. And then I walk in. All I said for the halftime speech was I put 42-35 on a grease board. I said, that's the final score. Let's go win. We won 56-35. So what I've always told the guys is, number one, I can't coach a team that doesn't try. I can't do that. So you got to give 100%. You got fans that are paying to come and watch you play that are proud of you. I'm proud of you, but you're an extension of me. And I'm going to compete my tail off that whole game. So you need to do that. Give me that. We'll make mistakes and we can fix them. But I can't coach a team that doesn't try every play. And Jasmine, in my career, I've been really, really lucky most of the time that the guys have responded to that. And that's what I'm most proud of. I told them Sunday, am I disappointed for you and for the fans because we had an opportunity to be a ranked Pitt team and we didn't take advantage of it? Absolutely. But I'm more proud that you could have laid down and quit at 17-0 on national TV, and I can't be part of that. And they did it. And I mean, you got Jordan Tucker who struggled coming out, and he's on the sideline screaming and picking people up, and you got Garrett Walston that came back, and he's fighting every play, and you got Tamon Fox. I mean, it just that's what family's about, and that's what football really teaches you. And Jasmine, we also say you're going to have a sick wife. You're going to have sick children. You're going to get fired at your job. You're going to have bad days. And how are you going to respond? Are you going to lay down and quit? Are you going to fight back? So I've always told them, do not look at that scoreboard. You just keep playing. And the way you play, the attitude you play with is who you are. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. And that's why I'm so proud of where we are. And that's why I know this program is going to be good going forward. Sam and those 5 superstars last year that Coach Fedora recruited got us ahead of where we were as a program. And now we're kind of back to where we are and where we should be. And that's in the middle of the pack. But we have a chance each week. And everybody knows it. And people don't like playing us right now because we're the program that let everybody down this year, but nobody's excited about playing us. So we're headed in the right place. And that's why I love these kids so much.
All right, we have time for 2 more. Art Chansky, first, go ahead.
Hey, Mack, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned redshirting, and Storm is an interesting subject to that matter. What does he have to do to make this year a redshirt year? And is he a guy that could be a 6-year player who might need all those years because he missed so much football?
Art, it's a great question. Number one, you can play in 4 games per year and still redshirt, which I think was a tremendous change in the rules by the NCAA. I would like for them now to say you can play in 4 regular season games and a bowl game, because we're seeing enough young people opt out of bowl games that you're going to need more people for bowl games. And you could still redshirt by putting a freshman in your bowl game to have enough people to be safe. Storm is, if Storm can stay healthy, Storm will be an NFL guy. So he'll probably leave as soon as he's eligible to leave for the draft. So I would not think the extra COVID year makes it crazy. See, Jacoby Criswell got the extra COVID year, so he's actually the same age as Drake May. But he's been here 2 years. He's still a freshman. So it's just crazy when you're trying to look at roster management. When you're looking at will Q Johnson, Marcus McKeith, and Josh Azudu come back or not. It's going to be based on evaluations. So we're sitting here right now. We could lose 3 starting offensive linemen, 4 because Jordan Tucker's leaving. With roster management, we're sitting here not understanding who we'll have in January. And we won't know that until after the December signing date. So the thing that we've told Storms, just play and get better and have fun and continue to work with Kyler McMichael leaving. You've got Don Chapman that got hurt. You've got Day Hollins that got hurt. But right now, Storm and Tony would be your corners starting for next spring for sure.
All right, we'll close up today with Jim Noble. Go ahead, Jim.
Coach, noting what you said about Sanford and Florida, how hard is it when these guys look up Wofford and they see 1-9 and winless in the SoCon? How hard is it to convince your guys that this will actually be a game on Saturday?
Well, the biggest thing is it can't be about who we play, Jim. It's got to be about us. And when our program gets where it needs to be, our fans have to come and see us play. It can't be about, this is a big game, this is not. Every home game should be a sellout. And they need to come and see Carolina play. When we're playing, we have enough things, Jim, we've got to fix. That this isn't about Wofford. This is about us fixing it. Now, this is the last year that we're playing an FCS school late in the year. And Coach Fedora wanted it, and I understand it, and I think it's a great idea. I would rather do it at the first of the year because we're normally going to be a better team at the end of the year than the beginning of the year, and especially now with the NCAA rules limiting how much you can hit. More people are that way. So we're opening up with Florida A&M at home I think the week before the season starts next year, which we had to get special permission to do, and that'll be a special day at home for us. But the point, Jim, is so well taken, and I'll talk to the team more about this tomorrow. They've been spent. You play Miami, last second win. You play Notre Dame, fourth quarter loss on the road, hard night game. You play Wake Forest, a bunch of plays, emotionally spent, worn out, and win. And then you go on a short week and play at Pittsburgh. So this would be a perfect time for us to be flat. It's a perfect time. So what I'm going to tell them is good teams play, and they play every week. And you've got to be playing to a standard. It's got to be about you. We've got things we've got to fix. It's got to be about getting better. And we don't have a week that we can't go out there with emotion and play. And I think, Jim, that's what makes this a unique and special week for us. Have we grown up? Are we getting better? Can we play because we like to play? Can we play because we need to improve and get better? Or are we going to stand around and everybody talk about our opponents struggle some and stand around and not play well on Saturday? And that cannot be who we are. We have got to play well this week, and that's critical. We've got to practice well this week. We've got to help these young quarterbacks if Sam doesn't play. The defense has to step up and get them the ball back. The offense has to give them time to get comfortable. So that's the exciting thing about this week. That this is definitely not a week that we can stand around. We've got too much to do to get better.
All right, Coach, thanks for a few minutes this morning.
Thanks, folks, and I'll see you Wednesday.